Hello, this is Friendly Cat. We're going to be doing our Hearts of Iron 4 achievement guide and playthrough with Italy for 5 of the 6 by blood alone achievements. Nothing personal auto to take Austria before the Anschluss. We're going to collect all the Romes, as the Pope restore Rome and capitulate the Soviet Union. And last and certainly not least, pizza time, we will occupy New York, Chicago, and Hawaii. This is a fun run as a major, and I really enjoy it. Our strategy here is going to be annex Ethiopia, justify an annex on France, justify an annex on Germany, then go to war with the Allies, and while at war with the Allies, collect large parts of Europe, eventually capitulate England, and then annex large parts of Europe and the Allies. Then justify and annex the United States, justify an annex of the Soviet Union, and then also justify an annex on Japan so that we can run this on 5 speed and for the nothing personal AUTF and let it run out to 1945. Key parts of this strategy are ensuring that we depose Mussolini before we annex France. We also will be banning communism, running anti-democracy raids, banning democracy, and eventually running anti-fascist raids to accelerate our Pope run, or to get the Pope a little bit faster to meet those non-aligned party population percentage requirements. As you see here, we're forming the armies to attack Ethiopia. I really don't like grinding. I detest grinding, but it's so clean here to get engineer, and I like it for the artillery, so we will be grinding. We'll also be heading for the army person that gives us the speed. I think speed is undervalued, and it also gives us that 0.30 Army XP. You can see there we are designing that 1936 sub. They're going to do a lot of heavy lifting this raid. And of course, by taking this time to actually bring our armies down there, our divisions down there before launching the attack on Ethiopia, it just goes that much smoother. And down goes Ethiopia and accelerates our other parts of the run. Yes, I know it can be faster to actually skip Ethiopia, but I like the other things, the political power, army experience, other things it gives us. France. France is actually not as bad as you might think. You can do paratroop, that's fantastic, but you can also make 6 twos, 18 with 6 infantry, 2 artillery, and just walk down the coast. And that's what I'm showing us here, a little bit of a delayed or slow walk down the coast. No naval invasion. I find it's actually much harder to get the naval superiority or supremacy that we need for naval invasion. It's okay. It's okay. Take your time. Walk down. There's not much that France can really do. They're going to be spending their time in other parts of Africa, and their armies won't exactly be up in France, and we'll be having subs encourage their armies to stay off the continent. Key parts, as I mentioned, we do want to make sure we depose Mussolini, take the depose Mussolini focus before we capitulate France, because when we do, when we capitulate France, that will push the balance of power far to the right and soft lock us out of that focus until we can find a way to move the balance of power to the left again, which we will. As you can see, as we move around France, we will eventually kind of hug up that river line and make a rather large encirclement. This strategy isn't that much different than what might have done in version 1.0, 1.1.2 if you've looked at those older guides. And here is that encirclement now complete. It's too easy, I could say, in a sense, because France does not have the military power to contest Italy. We will have a challenge soon enough with Germany, but for France, just continue to move along, and if you find yourself in a position that you're ready to capitulate them, but you haven't completed the focus, hold off, and then once you've completed the focus to depose Mussolini, take Paris, annex France, all of France, take their fleet, do start your justification on Germany before you have capitulated France, so you get that fast justification, and start to enjoy the new riches of the larger, I guess it's the Kingdom of Italy at this point. Actually, not quite, just Italy at this point, because we're still fascist. It looks like we've got lots of infantry weapons, but we will lose them soon enough to the vicious resistance. Our line against Germany is just south of Paris, and we're going to hug the coast. You might imagine where this is going. We're going to let Germany head west through France and head, I guess, around the northern part of France and then the western part, and then keep an eye out for opportunities to cut them and encircle them. We're slowly also heading our way toward our first armored division. So far our 6.2s, our 18 width infantry, have been carrying the load. Soon enough we'll have our first armored division. And look at that balance of power. It was all the way to the right. It's starting to tick toward the left as we lose non-core provinces. This is perhaps the most challenging part of the run, but now we've picked up, looks like Germany's extended just a bit too far. We're going to get our first little encirclement. We're also very close to forming our first armored division. But even without it, we're still doing okay. And even without air superiority, we're having a little tough time hugging up on that coast next to Dunkirk, of all places. But with the encirclement nearly complete in the south, we'll soon enough be able to free up divisions to head and reinforce those ports. Without ports, Germany is a lot more vulnerable than you might think, because without that supply, we could try a cut right up along the Maginot Line, but in this case it looked like a little easier cut to head in the western part of France, those open plains, and that's what we did here. Okay, it looks like we're ready for the first medium tank. I'm so excited. I love that part of the game when I first get that 17th width. Oh yeah, powerful tank. That's alright. One 17th width can actually do quite a bit. He's a little bit expensive, but we're going to see him at work. Is he going to replace or supplant those 18 width? No. He's going to just assist them, and we're going to watch him have his little fun moving around those German troops. Yes, they're out of supply. Yes, they're a little bit of an easy pickings, but I still really enjoy that first moments when we've got that armored division on the loose. Yes, it's June 1937. It's been 18 months of war, but it's still fun to watch him move around. And he's actually helping with the encirclement. He'll also be in a little bit helping in another area, but for now, we just get to enjoy that encirclement. I'm also keeping a very close eye on the different focuses and the requirements as we continue to move down that path. Oh, and it looks like they pushed back the little 17 width. Okay, so maybe he doesn't have a lot of ore. But oh, he's at it again. Now he's going to form the last of the encirclements just on the west of the Maginot Line. He's a little bit faster than the infantry, I guess twice as fast with an 8 kph hourly speed, but it's enough. And with this largely under control, we can breathe deep. The rest of the run is going to be downhill. It's a slightly downhill slope, but it's going to be easier from here on out because Germany is the last of the challenges. Most of their divisions were to the west of the Maginot, and with that cut off, we're relatively close to being able to just move on up and capitulate Germany. And in just a few moments, we're actually going to be seeing the first of our battle plan, which is my way of thinking, okay, once I start battle planning, good times are coming. So we're moving all the way up into Germany. We're also going to plan to justify on Turkey. We'd like to catch Turkey before they get their their own bonus, but it's a malice to us as far as the justification time. And soon enough, here we go. Now, while we decided to justify in Turkey, Greece thought that would be an opportune time to attack Albania, with whom we got a justification, excuse me, a guarantee. Greece capitulated. Albania didn't take any land, but it was enough of a justification, I guess you could say, no pun intended, for us to naval invade and relatively quickly finish off Greece. I'm not sure exactly what their thoughts were on that attack into Albania. I'm sure it made sense at the time, but I don't think it worked out for them in the long run. And because they were actually, I guess, in an offensive war, they were not able to join the Allies. Attacking Greece with the naval invasion, as Italy, is relatively straightforward. But we're also thinking toward Turkey. Turkey is guaranteed by the Allies, and by Allies I mean the UK. So our priority is actually to close the Suez, and close if possible, but hold it and open for ourselves if we can. So at this point we have 3 17 widths, exciting little troops, and they are focused on one thing, racing from former, parts of the French Middle East, just north of Palestine, and heading right in. And now we've got the Suez closed off, and we're going to be eventually capturing that for ourselves, which opens up our trade routes. which we're really happy to see. It also is one step toward closing the British fleet off from the Med. It may seem really difficult with such a weak army against the Allies, including Turkey, but just take your time, let all of South Africa, or south of Northern Africa, that is Central and Southern Africa, go, let Ethiopia go, because in any case we want that to go so the balance of power will start ticking to the left. We want the balance of power to the left of zero when we eventually form the, not form the Papal State, but take the last focus which activates the Pope. Those fast little tanks are having a good little time running around, little overruns. I'm spending a little bit of time here on Turkey because Turkey can be a little bit challenging, particularly when you're worried about Great Britain and its attacks otherwise. But as you can tell, Turkey's done. Bulgaria is a speed bump on the way to Romania. Romania has sent most of its troops, some of its troops down to Turkey, so they will be quickly capitulated as well. I like how Bulgaria put up a good fight, though. I can appreciate that. After Romania, we're going to continue our justification through Hungary. Hungary does not have much of a chance. Again, we're continuing to roll downhill. With each country we capitulate, resistance is continuing to build up, but none of the countries can actually hold off. Austria has decided to put most of their troops on the western border. Alright, maybe that's just a matter of self-preservation for those troops because our tanks roll quickly in from the east, and now we've got a land connection from Italy proper all the way into Africa. Czechoslovakia falls next. You'll notice that sometimes we are putting in battle plans, other times we are microing because of how Czechoslovakia is set up. We don't want any inadvertent encirclements, and so that means we will be microing through there, and we're actually going to give up parts of Germany, let Czechoslovakia walk to the west. Albania, yes, we guaranteed you, but now we're going to need that land. I'm not sure we need the land, but we're going to take it anyway. We're going to justify and quickly capitulate them. Yugoslavia, likewise, they actually put up not too much of a fight. You see a partial battle plan in the north. The tanks have open running throughout their country, and we can quickly take them out as well. We do need them for our later attacks. Now, meanwhile, I've forgotten that Switzerland had that nice justification malice to us. It's a bonus to them, but a malice to us. So while waiting for Polish and Switzerland justifications to finish, we captured Malta, we captured Gibraltar to close off the Med, and then we also went over to Cyprus. Really not necessary to take these out. If I maybe planned this a little bit better, we wouldn't have had to do that, but without that much else to do, might as well close us out, make sure there's no unfortunate naval invasions. Poland. This is probably my most respected enemy in this run. Look at them holding out in Warsaw. They have to know there's no hope coming, but I really think the AI did a great job here. They actually encircled a couple tanks. Now, fortunately, my tanks were able to get free, but it was kind of touch and go, and we came pretty close to losing some tanks, which is my own sloppiness. So this is a good reminder. Stay focused. It wouldn't have, of course, ended the run to lose a few tanks, but good job, Poland, for holding out as long as you did. Switzerland, battle planned. I think this is the first time I've capitulated Switzerland in the by blood alone, and they get some nice bonus to war surrender, I think it is, however much they war surrender, to the point that you must finish off all of their divisions, take all or almost all of the little states before you can do that, before you can capitulate them, so that we did. On to Spain. Too easy. Spain does not feel like joining the Allies. That works for me, so we'll annex them. Portugal sent some volunteers, but we would take them anyway for the tungsten and just to kind of complete the whole European picture. But with Portugal done, it's now time to prepare to go after Britain. So one, we're going to justify on the Netherlands for the oil and rubber and the Dutch East Indies, and then land on England. England's actually doing a pretty good job at holding its ports, good for them, but at this point the overwhelming firepower allows us to land and continue to breathe deep as we realize we are very close to capitulating England, and that means the end of the war and also eventually the end of our resistance problems. We're continuing to build sub-2s, which have done heavy lifting throughout the world. One of the reasons we've had such a relatively easy time with England is that we've been sinking their convoys, cutting off their fuel throughout this whole battle. So much fun. I can't help but notice that during the peace conference there are air battles going on over England. I mean, the war is over. Are those folks settling their final scores, shooting down their last enemies? No worries. We're going to take all of the Allies, annex all of the countries, and we're also going to take all the fleets that we can from every country. And we have enough war score in the most recent version, this is 12.7, that we can do that. Now we are going to invade the United States. Not too bad. We're going to naval invade from the south into Florida. We will attack from the northeast United States by land. We will also attack from the northwest by land, and then we're going to naval invade into San Francisco, Los Angeles as well. So basically from all corners attacking in. And the United States, even in 1939 against a weaker opponent, would have a hard time, but at this point with the more than 450 mils, with subs everywhere, it's not particularly I'd say challenging, but of course it's Germany was the most challenging part. We still want to take our time, move our way through, and capitulate them in a reasonable manner, but we certainly can battle plan and have a good time, enjoy taking out the United States. As we start thinking about our next and perhaps last major enemy, which is the Soviet Union. This is a full battle plan. This is just battle plan. Actually, I mean, obviously you can see I'm micromanaging a bit here, but for the most part it's just battle planning. I generally run on speed 4. We're nearing the end of our run. We formed, Pope has assumed control of Italy, and we're moving to the last of our focuses as we continue to move east. The Soviet Union demanded Bessarabia. I thought it was prudent to, I think we can hold them off. I don't think we need to give up Bessarabia. After we capitulate the Soviet Union, that ends the run for most runs. But in this case, we're going to take on Japan as well, so that we can run speed 5 for the Nothing Personal AUTF channel, achievement, which needs to run till 1945. And if we do not capitulate or annex Japan, then they will declare war on us, and while we're AFK doing something else because they want Malaysia and the Dutch East Indies. And with that, Japan is over. What a pretty peace conference. We're going to see it in a few seconds. This is, I think, one of the real things that have done well with Hearts of Iron 4. This peace conference is going to look fantastic. Well, I had a fantastic time with this run as well. Great fun. If you enjoyed it, please feel free to leave a comment or a suggestion down below as far as what other achievements, particularly by blood achievements, you'd like to see. And I'll leave a link to my guide to all by blood achievements as well. Thank you very much for watching.